Good evening and welcome to TV 16 Live at 5. Today is Monday, November 15th. I'm Danielle Bradshaw.
And I'm Haley Scruggs. Coming up, a man is charged with killing a soldier.
And an elementary school gets some special visitors today.
We'll have all that and more, but first let's take a look at weather with Sammy B. Ellen. Sammy?
Coming up later in weather, we'll take a look at where the rain is going to be coming from tonight and tomorrow, and if we'll have a chance for a little relief this coming weekend. We'll have that and more later on in the show, but first let's take a look at sports with Michael Antonio Jones.
Thanks, Sammy. Well, football, volleyball, and basketball, oh my. I've got a recap of this weekend's games coming up, but first, your TV 16 news starts now.
The man charged with killing a soldier at a recruiting station in Arkansas says he intended to do more. Abdul Hakim Muhammad wrote several letters to a Memphis newspaper saying he had planned a larger-scale attack before his arrest. His letters state that he planned attacks in Nashville, Tennessee and Florence, Kentucky as well. Muhammad says he began plotting attacks in Memphis, Little Rock and Nashville, as well as recruiting centers from the south to Washington, D.C. after returning from Yemen.
The Lonoke County Police are still searching for the man who allegedly shot and killed another man Saturday morning. Police believe Alex Dodson Jr. is responsible for the murder of Roy Mosby. The shooting occurred Saturday at 2 in the morning, apparently after a fight between them and another man. Dodson has been arrested twice for aggravated assault and on drug-related charges. Authorities believe he is armed and dangerous. The police department reports this is England's first murder in 8 years.
And a proposal to cut Arkansas capital gains tax is the first legislation that's been filed for the next year's session. Representative Ed Garner filed the proposal today that would eliminate the tax on capital gain that individuals and corporations earn on new investments in Arkansas-based businesses. Garner proposed the same measure last year, but the $42 million tax cut failed in a Senate committee after passing through the House. Today is the first day for lawmakers to file bills for the legislative session that begins January 10th.
The Pine Bluff Chemical Disposal Facility has successfully disposed of the last mustard agent-filled tin container. For more than 60 years, the Pine Bluff teens stored approximately 4 tons of the nation's original chemical agent stockpile. The Pine Bluff facility will begin its closure phase. During this time, the disposal facility will be decontaminated and dismantled in accordance with the site's Resource Conservation and Recovery Act permit. Closure is expected to last approximately 2 years.
A federal study shows Arkansas residents lack a consistent access to a well-balanced meal. The study released today by the U.S. Department of Agriculture shows 17.1% of Arkansas households were lacking nutritious meals from 2007 to 2009. This percentage is up from around 14% during the previous 3-year research period. The study found that nationwide 14.7% of households were food insecure at some time. This means they were uncertain of having or unable to acquire enough food for all family members. The lowest percentage of food insecurity was North Dakota at 6.7%.
50 students are suspended within 2 days at Jacksonville High School. The reason for the suspensions are tardies. The school administrations say the suspensions are part of a bigger plan to get their school back on track and to get parents more involved. Administrators handed out the suspension at the end of school Thursday and Friday. Students were allowed back in class, but after administrators spoke to their parents.
And a North Little Rock Elementary School had a couple of fancy fowls visiting this morning. Instead of going to the zoo, students had a visit with 2 penguins in school. The flightless birds waddled into the cafeteria at Crestwood Elementary to help Little Rock Zoo Director Mike Blakely accept a $1,300 check for a new exhibit. Crestwood students teamed up to raise the money as part of the Pennies for Penguins program. During the campaign, they also studied about penguins and the importance of charitable giving.
When we come back, one of the 4 missing family members in Ohio has been found alive.
And a soldier from Iowa takes his place in history. Stay with us.
financial advisor is being accused of committing one of the largest investment frauds in the history of the United States.
I guess we're not going to Aspen. That's fine. You see, I like tennis balls. He likes insider trading. So he's going to jail and I'm going to a shelter. And no, they're not the same thing. Shelters are for good pets that want to be adopted. Jails are for criminals. I did nothing. Uh-oh. Ooh, okay, I stole a cheeseburger once. I'm a dog.
Any questions?
What kind of service plan does this come with?
Unlimited.
Can I keep my same phone number?
Absolutely.
How do I change the ringtone?
Just hook it up to your computer.
Does it have a camera? What's the warranty? Does it come in silver? Can I put my party shuffle on this? Does it have a 3.5 millimeter headset jack? You sell a lot of these?
It's the one I carry.
You ever get those phantom vibrations in your pocket?
Any questions?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Ask questions. For the 10 questions everyone should know, go to ahrq.gov.
One of the 4 missing people in Ohio has been found alive. Sarah Maynard was found bound and gagged in the basement of a Mount Vernon home. 30-year-old Matthew Hoffman, who lived at the house, has been arrested on kidnapping charges. At a news conference this morning, Ohio police say the 13-year-old girl is in good health, but her mother, brother, and a family friend are still missing.
The positive turn in the investigation occurred yesterday morning at approximately 8 a.m. With the rescue of 13-year-old Sarah Maynard from a residence on Old Columbus Road in Clinton Township. Sarah is with family members now. She was treated at a local hospital, examined at a local hospital, and she has been reunited with family members and is doing well.
Tina Herman, her 10-year-old son Cody, and another woman, Stephanie Spring, have not been seen since last Wednesday. Barber said a combination of intelligence and investigative work led authorities to the home where Herman's daughter was found.
Following a regular bilateral meeting, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and the Foreign Minister of Lithuania, Audronius Azubalis, met reporters in Washington today. The U.S. and Lithuania have had diplomatic relations for 88 years. The United States has committed more than $100 million to Lithuania for economic, political, and humanitarian purposes since the early 90s. And the Eastern European country enjoys most favored nation status with the U.S. Topics of today's meeting: the future of NATO and also Afghanistan, where Lithuania has troops.
The accused Fort Hood shooter is keeping silent about last year's shootings. His attorney says he'll make his case after the government releases information on what was known about Hassan's contact with militant extremists before the shooting.
The charges, or whatever opinion people may have formed about my client, we all, as Americans, are entitled to the very rights that I'm talking about now.
Major Nadal Hassan declined to make a statement during a military hearing in Fort Hood this morning. His defense team also didn't call any witnesses to the stand. The hearing lasted only 2 minutes and was the final one of several to determine if Hassan will face a court-martial. Hassan is accused of killing 13 people and injuring another 2 at a military base last November. The decision is now up to the recommendation of investigating officer. There's no timeline on when this will happen.
Authorities in Southern California are looking for the driver who they believed caused an accident that has claimed at least 5 lives and injured several more. The driver tried to pass a dozen motorcycle riders, but sparked the horrific events just north of the Mexico border. He drove off. Now, as authorities try to locate the vehicle, friends and family members cope with the loss. Reporter Shell Getwiza has the latest on the search.
It was a trip to celebrate 10 years of riding together. Members of the Saddle Tramps, a San Diego County club, were on their way to Winter Haven when tragedy struck.
Saw a ball of fire and a bike flying through the air.
Club Vice President Dennis Grizz Humberstad says there were 21 riders in the group. He saw the horrific accident from his rearview mirror. A husband and wife, another woman, and a man named Bigfoot died instantly. Club President Carl Smith says they are still numb with shock.
As big as the sky, as big as they come. Just a huge man with a extremely gentle heart.
5 others were injured. These men say their hearts are breaking.
The only good thing I can say is the ones that died doing what they enjoy.
The CHP says the crash happened Saturday afternoon on Route 98 near El Cotillo, a few miles north of the Mexican border and 80 miles east of San Diego County. A gold Honda Civic tried to pass a dozen of motorcycles on the two-lane road. He drove into oncoming traffic. The driver of a car in that lane, Carlos Ramirez Bobadilla, swerved to avoid him but plowed into the group of motorcycles. The Honda kept going. Bobadilla was injured. His passenger died. CHP arrested him on suspicion of driving under the influence, but say he is not responsible for the deaths.
It's difficult because the surviving family members and the other riders, and they want answers, and I can't give them right now.
Officer Deanne Guidi of the CHP says they are working nonstop. Even though she's received few leads, she hopes with the help of several other agencies they'll track down the driver.
Pursuing leads with some cameras in the Calexico area in case he possibly went south to Mexico, and I'll be viewing some surveillance cameras. We're working with Border Patrol, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, and the DEA.
Investigators say the male suspect was wearing a baseball cap, driving a gold four-door Honda Civic with no license plate.
Has no tint on the windows. They said it was a clean car, no scratches, no. It looked. That's why one of the gentlemen thought it was a newer model, because it looked brand new.
A chain reaction crash on Interstate 25 in Colorado has left dozens of cars damaged. Just look at this mess near Larkspur, about 40 miles south of Denver. Officials say 34 vehicles were involved in this pileup, including 4 semis and an empty tanker. 12 people were hurt in the crash and were taken to the hospital. Fortunately, officials say no one was critically injured. The accident has forced officials to shut down all northbound lanes on the freeway. Officials say icy roads may have caused the massive pileup.
And tomorrow, a soldier from Iowa will take his place in history as a recipient of our nation's highest military decoration. Army Staff Sergeant Sal Junta earned the Medal of Honor when he risked his life to save other soldiers during an ambush in Afghanistan. Bruce On shows how he began his road to becoming a hero.
He grew up in Hiawatha, graduating from Cedar Rapids Kennedy High School. He was popular during those school days and showed few signs of the heroic soldier he'd become.
He had great relationships with the teachers. Anytime I would go in for a conference or something, they'd say, he is so much fun, it's just so good to have him in my room. How's he doing? Well, and I'm like, okay, get over the social part.
His dad recalls him being adventurous and competitive.
That adventurous side could be quite challenging from time to time. In hindsight, it all looks quite a bit better, but going through it, he was very adventurous.
But something happened to Sal Junta back then. You might easily say he just grew up, matured, but he came to understand that he needed a direction in his life.
He didn't want to just sit back and do nothing. He knew that would never fulfill what he had for his life. He wanted to achieve something, yet he wasn't sure what it was.
Sal settled on the Army, enlisting during his senior year at Kennedy.
To the good times.
Yeah.
For his parents, the difference in their son came quickly.
After he went into the military and he was focused up and he grew up and changed from a boy to a man at that time, well, it was just night and day.
And he carried with him the values he learned from his parents, a faith in God, a strength of character that he took to the battlefield.
Sal had a desire to do things right, and he would speak about that desire right there. Mom, I want to do things right. I want to leave a mark. I want to be somebody that did it right.
Honor is only one part of what comes with a distinction. Medal of Honor recipients also get a few perks, including a higher pension, free flights on military aircraft, and invitations to all presidential inaugurations and the inauguration balls.
A Texas toddler and her dog are more than just friends. They are very special. They have a very special bond that some might even call life-saving. Sean Gables explains.
Hey, I know, I'm watching, sweetheart, I promise.
Even before our interview began, this British Terrier sniffs and detects a scent.
What is it, Rube? Do we need to check?
That warns 2-year-old Faith Wilson.
Yes, good girl.
is in trouble.
People say something about her dog. I'm like, I don't have a dog. I'm an angel with fur.
Faith's blood sugar level,
So she's dropped about 50 points in 10 minutes.
is like a roller coaster.
Faith, come here. We need to check your blood sugar.
Type 1 diabetes pushes her glucose count up.
Show me a finger.
But 5 minutes later,
Oh, no.
it's down.
About 75 points.
Every day, Faith endures 15 to 20 finger pricks a day. Ruby triggers them all.
High blood sugar, low blood sugar, and ketones.
Considered the first ever diabetic alert dog for children under 12, Ruby warns Faith's mom by simply fetching this pink stick called a Brinsel, an action that indicates Faith either needs insulin or, like most preschoolers, she's got a sweet tooth.
I look to Ruby. I don't listen to Faith because she's learned to work it in the year that she's had diabetes.
Trainer Rachel Thornton considers Ruby a true success story, but warns it's not always the case.
We like to say that the dog is just an additional tool to add to your arsenal of tools to take care of your diabetic condition. You're still responsible. This is a dog and will always be a dog.
A dog who Faith counts on to keep her safe.
There's been a lot of research about the impact of video gaming on children. Now, a new study finds the effects of video games really depend on who's playing them. Here's Nanette Sosa with today's Health Minute.
Do video games have negative effects on children? A new study conducted by Yale University's Department of Psychology tried to find out. Researchers surveyed 4,000 adolescents on their gaming habits. They focused on whether the kids were occasional users or problematic gamers who immersed themselves in video games 24/7. Investigators also surveyed the adolescents' other habits, such as drinking, smoking, and drug abuse. Investigators recorded no negative health consequences when it came to boys who gamed occasionally, but girls who were involved in gaming at least once a day were more likely to be aggressive and involved in fights. And many said they were depressed and never told anyone. Boys who were problematic gamers also reported more episodes of smoking and drug abuse. In girls who were problematic gamers, substance abuse was less significant. Researchers say although gaming didn't seem to pose any major physical health problems, psychologists believe constantly playing video games may be a byproduct of some deeper psychological problem. For today's Health Minute, I'm Nanette Sosa.
Coming up after the break, if you take a look at the headlines for the weather today, we will see the temperatures are dropping this week as well as rain on the way, but hopefully a clear weekend to come. We'll have that and more right after this break.
Guys, this is my cousin Rob from Michigan.
What's up?
He's a teenager.
Hey, totally. All right. Oh, hey, you want to slow down?
No.
Really? Huh. Hey, you know what a beautiful animal is? A horse. A horse. Yeah. Beautiful mane. Unbelievable muscle tone. When it runs, it looks like poetry in motion. It's the most beautiful thing on earth. And sometimes when you feed a horse, its lips will tickle your hand. Just tickle it just a little bit. It makes me giggle sometimes. I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you don't slow down, I'm going to bite into your head like an apple. And thanks, guys, for listening to my horse stories. I could talk about ponies all day long.
Shelters are the best places to find a new pet. You'll discover healthy and loving animals just waiting to become a part of your family. Believe in the spirit of the season. Adopt your new buddy from a shelter today. Find out more at theshelterpetproject.org.
Welcome back. Taking a look at today's almanac, you can see there's zero rainfall so far today, but we may see that be going up later on tonight. Taking a look at today's highs and lows, a high of 62 today, and tonight should only be about 37, a little chilly, but nowhere near the record of only 14 in 1940. Taking a look at the current temperatures across the state, we can see Hot Springs, it's 59. Down here in El Dorado, a little chillier, it's 56. And then up here in Jonesboro 57. So pretty cool all across the state right now. Taking a look at our current conditions right here in Searcy. Again, 62 is our temperature. The dew point fairly low at only about 28, as well as the humidity is fairly low at 33%, whereas the wind is a little mild from the east at around 9 miles per hour. Now taking a look at our regional radar, you can see there isn't a whole lot of action going on out to the west of us. There is pushing out that way, and over Little Rock there's a little bit that's building up, and that's probably what's going to be coming up our direction. But taking a look out at the surface map, you can see more activity is coming from the west. It's going to be moving in across the state with this low pressure system that's been building up to the south and the west, and that'll be bringing in activity throughout the next couple of days. Now looking at tonight, there is a 70% chance of rain and the low again of 37. The rain won't be coming though until a little bit after midnight, and there will be a slight breeze from the northeast at around 5 miles per hour. On tomorrow, there should be again a 60% chance of rain, but that will be in the morning to early afternoon, and that should die off around 3 p.m. A high of only 52 though, so make sure to take your raincoat and maybe a sweater because it could be pretty chilly. Now taking a look at our 5-day forecast, you can see rain throughout tomorrow, and then Wednesday again there is a 40% chance of rain throughout the day, but that should be clearing off in the evening and then should be pretty mild for the rest of the week into the weekend. Temperatures will remain the same in the low 60s to mid to upper 50s, where the lows though will be pretty chilly, so when you go out at night, make sure to take a warm coat. That's all we have for weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Sammy.
So Michael Antonio, what's new in sports?
Well, I have the final game of the Harding football season and the recap for that game coming up on the other side of the break.
I present to you Algebra 2, Foreign Languages, and finally, Biology. Who among you will step up to their challenge?
Me. Yeah, I'll do it. Me too. Sign me up.
Take on the tough classes now. You need them to prepare for college.
G-Morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me back. Hey, did you tell your parents about us? Let's skip first period together. Did you get all my texts? Is practice over yet? Where are you at?
Are you with your friends? That's L-A-A-A-A-M-M-E-E-E.
Capital X, lowercase o, capital X, lowercase o.
I love you. JK. I hate you. JK.
Are you ignoring me?
We're in a huge fight right now.
Is this something I did?
I can see your lights on. I'm coming over.
What'd you dream about?
Me?
I'm
lonely.
Holla back. Holla back.
Let's try something new. Nude pics. Send me some.
Text me.
Welcome back, and what a spectacular finish to the season for the Bison football team. The Bisons defeated nationally ranked University of North Alabama in a 29-28 upset. Harding senior Jordan Watson caught a 22-yard touchdown pass from Josh Powell with 45 seconds left in the game to give the Bisons the victory over 15th-ranked UNA. Despite a season-high 7 fumbles, the Bison defense, who tops the nation in sacks, was there to put a pressure on UNA. The Bison defense added 4 more sacks to set a school record for 43 sacks on the season. The win over UNA gave Harding the 3 straight wins over nationally ranked teams for the first time since the Bisons joined the NCAA in 1997. The Bisons end their season with a record-setting 6-4 overall, 4-4 in conference play, and ending with a 3-game winning streak. This, as a side note, was the final game for the Bisons as a member of the Gulf South Conference. Next season, Harding will move to a yet unnamed conference that will include 6 Arkansas universities and 3 Oklahoma universities. And another season that's come to a close is the Lady Bison volleyball team. The Bisons fell to West Florida 1-3 on Saturday after defeating Valdosta State 3-0 on Friday in the GSC tournament. The Lady Bisons, who end the season with a record of 18-11 overall, and also end with 10-2 in conference play. Now the Bison men's basketball team is starting the season off right, winning both of their games in Memphis. the Bisons defeated Lemoyne-Owen 86-81 in overtime Friday in their season opener. It was junior forward Kirk Porter's layup that sent the game into overtime, allowing the Bisons another shot at victory. And speaking of making shots, the Bisons' defense kept Lemoyne-Owen from making a single one in the game's final 2 minutes and 33 seconds. After getting warmed up against Lemoyne-Owen, Harding cruised to a 79-62 victory against Lane on Saturday. At halftime, Harding led 53-30 and extended its leads to as many as 26 points in the second half. The Bison shot 60.7% in the first half, hitting 17 of 28. The team hit 9 of 12 from the three-point land and made all 9 free throw attempts. If this is any indication of the season to come, then we have an exciting season to look forward to. The Bisons are back in action Thursday night in their home opener against Lambeth. Tip-off is in the Rhodes Fieldhouse at 7:30 p.m. And speaking of season openers, the Lady Bison basketball team season opens tonight against Central Baptist. Something of note going into this game, Harding holds an 8-0 lead in all series with Central Baptist, and Harding has not started a season at home since 2005 when the Lady Bisons defeated Lyon 91-76. Tip-off is at 5:30 and you can hear the game live on 95.3 KVHU. And changing gears, 3 college football players are shot celebrating a victory, a new coach, and hopefully new results for the Dallas Cowboys, and the Jacksonville Jaguars win on a Hail Mary play. This is your Headline Sports.
Sports, I'm Rafer Weigel. A new coach meant a new attitude for Big D. Cowboys interim head coach Jason Garrett got his first win as Dallas defeated the Giants in the Meadowlands 33-20. John Kitna threw for 327 and 3 TDs against the G-men. The stadium actually lost power during the third quarter for a bit. It was eventually restored. It took divine intervention, but the Jaguars beat the visiting Texans 31-24. With the game tied at 24 with seconds left, David Garrard throws the Hail Mary pass to the end zone. It is batted and right into the hands of Jags' Mike Thomas for the game-winning touchdown. The Jaguars have won 2 games this season on the final play. Last month, Josh Scobie beat the Colts with a game-ending field goal. The Jets beat the Browns 26-20 in overtime. With the game seconds away from ending in an overtime tie, Mark Sanchez found Santonio Holmes for a 37-yard game winner. The Jets now sit atop the AFC East at 7-2. The Patriots improved to 7-2 after beating the Steelers 39-26. Tom Brady completed 30 passes for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. Rob Gronkowski caught 5 passes from Brady, but 3 of them were scores. New England had 453 total yards against Pittsburgh's usually tough defense. Early Sunday morning, 3 members of the Southern Mississippi football team were shot outside a Hattiesburg nightclub. Authorities say that linebackers Martez Smith and Tim Green and defensive end Dedrick Jones were all in fair condition after being shot during a fight at the Remington's Hunt Club. Authorities say no arrests have yet been made. In the NBA, the Suns went 3-point crazy, beating the Lakers 121-116. Phoenix was 22 of 40 from beyond the arc. Jason Richardson hit 7 3-pointers to finish with 35. After winning their first 8 games, the Lakers have now dropped 2 straight. And the second-to-last race in the Sprint Cup chase. Carl Edwards takes the checkered flag at the Cobalt Tools 500. Points leader Denny Hamlin led for 190 laps, but he couldn't hold on after he pitted for gas. Hamlin's lead over Jimmy Johnson has been cut to 15 points with 1 race to go. And that's Headline Sports. I'm Rafer Weigel.
So, Michael Antonio, how do you think we'll do in the game coming up?
Well, historically, Lady Bisons have been having a strong start for the opening game, and so it's looking good for us tonight, and I'm really expecting a really good season for the Lady Bisons basketball team.
That's good. Sammy, can you give us a recap on the weather?
Yeah, no problem. If we take a look at the 5-day forecast again, we can see there's going to be some rain. Like I said, later tonight should be after midnight through tomorrow, and then again on Wednesday there is a slight chance, but hopefully by Thursday it'll be clearing out just in time for the weekend, so it should be fairly nice with temperatures in the low 60s.
Well, thank you for joining us here at Live at 5 for all your news, sports, and weather.
From all of us here at TV 16, have a great night. 15 minutes.